Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. So today I'm doing the June 2026 update for the 4-year experiment. Those of you who are coming to this new, at the end of this video and also in the description below, I do a link to the initial video where I outline what the plan was. Originally, earlier in the year, I planned to turn $200,000 into $1.2 million over the next 4-year period. Since then, I've actually invested kind of more, so that went from 200,000 to basically 400,000. So we're trying to turn 400,000 into $2.4 million over the next 4-year cycle. And we're obviously about 6 months into that cycle now. So let's have a look at what's happening over the last month. So as of this morning, portfolio value $445,000. I've averaged these to the nearest 1,000. That's an increase of 21,381 over the last month, and the total amount invested remains at 416,000. And then the main updates in June, I've actually added some longer term LP positions. When I say longer term, I'm talking probably 3 months, that kind of range. I think there's a chance that we range now sort of through the summer months relatively sideways, maybe with some slight increases. So that's why I'm in some LP positions for the next 3 months. I think that we'll then see another dip down in the markets probably early autumn. So that's my kind of like base case. Looking at the price of Bitcoin now, we're under the 200-week moving average. As I record this, we're about 58,500. So we've had a little bit of extra weakness in the last few days, but we're bouncing around that sort of like 58 to sort of 61,000 range. I think we might continue to go sideways. There is a chance, I think, maybe in the next week or so, that we have another little leg lower, and then maybe I'll bring my sort of forecasts in and start accumulating a little bit more rapidly. But I think basically we've had the next leg down during June, back to the, or down to the 200-week and below the 200-week moving average, and I think we now, there's a good chance we move sideways for a few months and then take another leg down. So that's why I've set up these LP positions. I took profits on my Solana short that was on Jupiter. I took those when the Solana price was early 60s. It's actually recovered a little bit now, and I'm rebuilding this position. So I'm about a third of the way into rebuilding this position in preparation, hopefully, for another leg down in the autumn. And I've also started DCAing on both Bitcoin and then just literally this week on my Solana positions. And that's because my first 2 price targets, which were just 5% of my purchases on Bitcoin, triggered at 65 and 62,000. And then when we hit 60,000, went below 60,000, that's triggered a 20-week DCA on Bitcoin. And then my Solana DCA started literally just last Monday. So I've just bought the first small amount there as well. And then in terms of the platforms I'm using, this is where everything is at the moment. Earning interest, obviously, on Ledden. The top figure here is the USDC, and the bottom figure is the Bitcoin that I bought in US dollar terms. A small amount in kind of Nexo, as I've talked about in the past. I use them for kind of interest. I use their card and stuff as well. In Aave, the 92,500 is USDC supplied, and the 45,000 is Bitcoin borrowed against that, and a small amount of Ethereum actually that I'm using to counterbalance one of my LP positions. So that's amount we owe. And then SnuggleFi and VFAT are the LP positions I've set up. I will be doing some videos on both SnuggleFi and VFAT in the next few weeks. A few people have reached out and asked me about SnuggleFi, and I haven't been using it a huge amount, but I've got some data now, so I'm going to run through the sort of pros and cons of that platform. Jupiter is my Solana short. Jito, this is the Solana that I'm starting to DCA into buying, so I'm converting it to Jito, just holding it as Jito Sol, basically. That's earning just about 5.5%. And then 5,000 in Camino, that's USDC. And then my wallet, this is the money that I'm using for this Sol short position. So as the position increases, the amount in the wallet will drain down a little bit. And then in terms of how we've actually kind of performed, you can see blue lines here are the amount invested, and you can see that's increased over the last few months, stable as of last month. And then the green line is what the portfolio is actually kind of worth. So obviously the same at the beginning of January. Then we had 3 good months, and then obviously the drift hack knocked us right back. Basically all our profits at that point, was about $50,000, disappeared in that hack. I think over the next month drift may relaunch, so we'll start to get an idea of how quickly trading fees will be added to the recovery pool. In the short term, I think it's going to be like 1 or 2% of what was kind of lost in terms of what the recovery kind of pool will actually be paying out of. but we'll see how that works out over the next, I think probably after about 12 months, we'll have a good idea about how long potentially it's going to take, and then we'll have to make a decision as whether we take smaller amount kind of earlier or just, you know, wait for years and years and years to try and get the full value back. So then you can see June, small amount of profit in June, and then a decent amount in July. If I jump over here, so this is our target line here in blue. So this is what we need to be hitting in order to get to our 2.4 million by the end of 2029. So that's our target, and then you can see here the green line is where we are in comparison. So we started off doing pretty well. We were above our target, we were ahead of our target, and then we had the drift hack, and we've been below that for the last few months, but basically in line with what our target has been. Just to give you a rough idea, at the moment, I think over the next couple of months, we're looking at around $20,000 a month in order to kind of keep up with our projected targets and get to that figure. Obviously, we're going to need to see some kind of increase at some point to get back to that line, whether that's through return of funds from kind of drift or capital appreciation, we shall see over the next 3.5 years. But I anticipate being below the line, probably pulling away even worse over the next few months. I think we'll have another leg down, as I said, probably September, October time like that. But then I'm hoping going into next year, we'll start to make more money from the LP positions and some of the DeFi and stuff like that, but also we'll get some capital appreciation, hopefully. So if we time in our purchases well for our Bitcoin and Solana purchases, then supplying those as collateral, as the price of those goes up, the total portfolio amount will hopefully increase as well. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I do read all the comments and answer them whenever I can. So let me know if you have any kind of questions. I'm interested to know what you think the markets will do over the next few months. If you give me a like, thumbs up, or comment, anything like that would be fantastic. I'm firing up the channel after a few years of being away, so every little interaction really helps the algorithm. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video, but until then, have a great day. Bye bye.